First order of business tonight is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of March 5th.
I would move that the minutes be approved as written.
Second.
Any corrections, deletions? Seeing none, those in favor? Selectmen's comments, Tom.
Let's see, a couple things. I had the joy of attending a paid family medical leave webinar today, presented by Freddie Flaherty, and learned a lot about it. So Kim, maybe you and I can debrief you on a couple of things I learned, which it's really complicated. The Climate Committee has scheduled their Earth Day event to be on April 19th from 10 to 12, and they're going to focus on cleaning up the Quasit Park and Tanner Square and the tunnel. And if there are any suggestions for other spots, please let Dave know. They're going to need safety
That's what I was just
safety
asking.
vests.
How many are there on the committee?
Well, there's going to be a outreach to get people, just
Okay.
non-committee people to come. So
I
I
have
don't know.
like 6 vests,
6 vests? Okay.
I've got
6 or 7, yeah, I've got a few.
All right, so we may need in a traffic cone or two, we can probably steal from the firehouse.
Well, reach out if you need, tell me if you need comments.
I have a couple in the ditch over by Hiley, so you can have.
And finally, I went to a meeting with the Lincoln County Economic Development Department and Consolidated to talk about the broadband project. And Simon was there, and he gave us an update on how that was progressing. And Wiscasset's all going to be done in a couple of months, completely. Woolwich, they've started, well, he says they're going to start in April, but I see them out there. They've started already. And what he told everybody is to stress that anybody that wants it should pre-order, so that when they're out doing installs, that they can do them efficiently, get everybody at once.
Yeah, I've done that too.
That's it.
Allison.
I just wanted to mention, Nate Bodge from Bathwater just reached out to me last week. They are going to be doing a survey of the Nequasset watershed, and they're looking for about 5 volunteers to spend, I think it's just the morning, but it could be like 10 to 2, to go out and work with. I think they're getting people from DEP. They're getting, so there's and just sort of, make observations about erosion. That's usually the big thing they're concerned about. But anyway, if you're interested, it requires a 1-hour Zoom training on Wednesday, May 6th, and then the survey will actually be May 9th. So, yeah, if they have any interest in doing it, could be before the bug. They don't need a lot, but and so you'd be paired with people who actually know what they're doing. That's it.
Dale has show and tell tonight.
This is stuff that's in the middle of the road on 127. The bumps is rattling everything off the pickup trucks and cars and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you imagine what some of this stuff?
Can do to your tires?
Yeah.
I wondered what happened to my 11.
Look at this one.
How many miles of road were you traveling here to get?
This is at one bump.
Oh, yeah?
This is that bump by the power line.
Wow. Which I think that sign needs to be moved a little bit, because you
So
don't
anybody
see
else
it.
traveling,
Right
open up,
when
I
you
noticed this stuff on the way home, and then I came back down through, I picked it up.
Yeah, and that looks like it might be.
What is that?
Central Maine
All
Power,
the
Central Maine
nice
Power,
stuff to
Central Maine Power.
CMP. I can tell you,
But just-
I'll stop one of their trucks.
Keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
That could ruin a motor, transmission.
Rest of it looks like you
tires.
sell off Dale's truck.
You sure you didn't get this in your dooryard anyway?
No,
Or my dooryard?
I just saved it. But anyway, be careful traveling in the middle road.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I got a phone call from a guy who'd broken down on Chops Cross Road. He'd taken something, his front end out of his car, hitting that bump down by the power line. So, it's all out there.
It is the Audubon down there. People drive 60, 70 miles an hour.
No, not on the middle road.
I know.
What was it, the folks from the state said to us, they drove down the road and they thought it was very, very good.
It looks like a road that's in year 6 of its,
Who needs Funtown, right?
Anything else there?
Nope, that's it.
Jason?
All I have is Kim and I have been working with Ruth and Ed Kelp and the attorney, Kristen, and trying to get this paperwork together for the permitting for the project down here, the boat ramp and the ongoing stuff. And so she called literally before the meeting, and we're supposed to vote on an MOA to, and this, that, and the other, but it's gonna be a couple more weeks.
So she's still pretty confident that the money's not gonna be frozen or
Yeah,
anything?
she told me as of recently that none of that was affected by anything, or nothing's been, affected yet, but, no, and it looks like the permitting through DEP is only 90 days or so, she just told us, right? And then, Army Corps is 6 months, and they can't work in the water till next fall anyway, so.
Reed's
Reed,
likely not going to do
yeah, I
it.
talked to Jimmy the other day, and they want to be out of there in June if they can,
Yeah.
so, I don't know if one has much to do with the other,
Okay.
but anyway, in a couple of weeks, we should have some paperwork to sign, just to show.
For opening that up and for the boat launch?
Yeah, it's all the permitting stuff, that,
Yeah, okay.
which is like we've done before, that
Yeah.
we're on board and we're the, kind of the pass-through and all that kind of
That's
stuff,
great.
or whatever we're doing.
Okay.
Anyway, no, she seemed good. You agree, Kim?
Yes, absolutely. She's right on it.
Yeah, so stay tuned. That's it.
That's it? I have nothing tonight. Let's see, public comments. If there's anything you'd like to talk to us about, if it's not on the agenda, let's talk about it now. If it's on the agenda, please wait for it to come up. Yes, ma'am.
I would highly encourage people on the select board to please come to the March 24th school board meeting. We're going to be presenting the first case of our school budget. And I think it's going to be really important to have some folks from Woolwich there, just rather than just myself as the lone representative, to talk about what they're going to say, of which I can't say any more than that.
What time?
I think it's 5.
Oh, wow.
Where are those at now?
And where?
Yeah.
It's going to be at Morse.
Morse.
Usually you just walk in the door.
In the auditorium there?
Yeah,
Okay. And you think it's at 5?
give me just a second.
What's the date, 18?
I'm sorry, 6.
6, okay. That's better.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
So what is that, Tuesday?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday?
It's our typical school board meeting time, but it's the budget.
Okay.
What was that date again? Allison?
March 24th, Monday,
Monday,
6
okay.
to 8.
Same night as the planning board.
Jennifer, do you have any idea at this point what they're looking at for an increase?
I do, and my superintendent has please asked me not to discuss it until the meeting.
Is that bad, huh?
Well, we'll respect that.
Preliminary.
Right, it's the first round. But
Okay, but thank you, it's perfect timing.
thank you.
All right.
Tom?
Yes, I had a question. I have a hard time attending too many meetings, but I'll bring it up the next time I get a chance to go to the climate change committee meeting. But I was curious on the application for that. It indicates that there's $15,000 for the town, and I think it was $75,000 for whatever the nonprofit is that's promoting this. In those breakdowns, they don't go very detailed on the breakdowns, but it suggests that there's different parts of the budget for training, for so-called experts, and I'm hoping that there's a definition of who the experts are and what their qualifications are and how miscellaneous money is being spent. I mean, there's a lot of fuzzy, the way the budget's set up is not real straightforward. So I'm hoping that can be clarified. I just want to make that announcement here to make sure that the select board is aware of what that budget looks like.
When do we hear from them?
We haven't heard from,
But I mean,
you're talking about the resilience grant?
Yeah,
that we apply for, that
Yeah.
we should be hearing about sometime soon.
Okay,
Right, so it hasn't been awarded though,
it's
right?
not.
Yeah, it hasn't been
No, it hasn't
awarded,
been
it's just
awarded.
an
The
application.
budget that was submitted with the grant is questionable.
The application?
Yeah, you have to submit a budget with a grant
Right.
application, so, and where the money's gonna be spent, and it's ambiguous.
very ambiguous. But I suppose that's standard for grants, I have no idea, because I've never applied for one, but I would think they would want more specificity.
I don't know when
Well,
their next
Tom, I would
meeting is.
suggest that you attend one of their meetings and ask them.
I've got too many meetings that seem to be on the same night, so I'll hope to get the next one.
Anybody else?
Public.
Okay. We'll move on. Town administrators report. Kim?
All right, I am still looking for a few of the town report submissions, so next Monday I'm doing the cutoff. If I don't have the submissions, then you're not gonna be in the town report, so I'm tired of chasing people. Also, I guess we want to address the new office hours for the town.
Yes.
So, the select board decided on Monday during the budget meeting that the town office effective April 31st will have new
April 30th.
business hours, 31st?
March 31st.
March, did I say April?
Yeah. Okay.
March 31st, we'll have new office hours to the public, which will be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 8 to 4:30. Wednesday, 9 to 6, and we will be closed on Fridays. Okay, and then I had to use the first drawdown of the tax anticipation note, I made it effective tomorrow, 150,000, just because I sent out the school payment, and once the school payment is paid, we would have been minus $88,000. So I've got snowplow contracts to pay, and so I'll probably be drawing down maybe in a couple more weeks.
That's what I was
School
wondering.
payment is $419,000 a month.
Now.
Now,
Went
That
up
does right.
$42,000 a
Yeah.
month last year.
Thank you, Jenny, for pointing that out.
Now,
Now.
and on top of that, I think come July or August, we will probably be applying for another tax anticipation note to cover us through October because of the county and the school.
So you think it'll be, so now, in a couple of weeks, and then again in July? Is that what?
We probably will have to apply for another tax anticipation note, probably in July or August.
Oh, I see, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because our funding for the taxes will come up in April, and that'll be April, May, June, and then, come July.
Well, the trouble is, in July, we may be in the same boat as last year.
Right, yeah,
If the county, once we start paying, before we, but we should be able to fix this.
yes, by the time the tax commitment rolls around in
That
September.
commitment, we should be able
So
to.
hopefully we don't have to apply for another one. The heat pump is up and running, they came and fixed it yesterday. Now that it's starting to get warmer, we now have heat. And then, the insurance needs to be submitted on the 28th. I talked to Sean today, we got that done, and then,
We're done, I think.
you said there were no changes on anything, correct? So we're all set, okay, then I'm all good, we're good to go, thank you.
You've got the town, you're using the town report piece that I sent everybody out, okay.
Mhm.
Just wanna make sure I can check that off my to-do list. And also the dedication.
Yes,
Okay.
I got that, thank you.
Road Commissioner, Jack.
Everything, Kim?
I do not.
We're just patching, keeping things going, making sure the posted roads aren't driven on and getting through mud season.
Yeah.
So,
Roads don't seem to be in too bad a shape this year.
No,
They don't seem
no.
to heave like they usually do.
they don't do that.
There's one spot you don't drive.
There's some frost to use, but,
Yeah.
but there's some frost to use, but.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't seem to be nearly as bad as they were
I'm
last
sure
year.
the mud at this point.
Almost broke my axle.
Oh, yeah, well, we're getting there. It's a
Anybody
big
have any questions for Jack? Anybody on the board?
season in a minute.
see you again. Thanks, Jack. Codes officer, he's not here, but I have a report. He was asked to check an abandoned property located at 880 Middle Road. He visited the property last week and found that there appears to be nobody living there. It hasn't been shoveled, there's no prints in the snow. It's empty and unsecure, has no furniture, appears to be, it hasn't been lived in for quite some time. There's another structure on the property that it was secured in places, but there's opening on the front side. It could not determine. There are 3 empty propane tanks, and there's also a secured shed. Reviewing the town planning ordinance, the definition of ruins, no owner of occupied land or in any district shall permit fire or other building ruins which may be hazardous to health, etc., etc. By definition, this situation may qualify as a violation. However, I've observed similar structures throughout the town that also meet this specific criterion. Given these precedents, I do not see this incident as comparable to the situation, for example, as on Murphy Corner Road, so I'm hesitant to proceed at this time. That said, I'm prepared to follow whatever direction the select board wishes to take on the matter. Please advise me how you'd like me to proceed. Respectfully, Mike Field.
Is this something you know?
We have abandoned trailers here, there, and everywhere. So, unless they pose in some kind of immediate danger, I don't see, you know.
Is this something you know about?
I do. Somebody came to me and was complaining, one of the neighbors, some of the neighbors, about it being, they know about the dangerous building.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they thought this might fit under that.
Yeah.
If it was being, you know, like the one that was up on the hedge bridge there, East Hedge, there, you know, where kids were in there smoking, set the place on fire a couple times. If there's something like that going on, I think it would be what they call an attractive nuisance. And we could do something about it then, but if the thing is just sitting there doing nothing.
I mean, we did the same thing with the house downtown.
Yeah, but that also had some, didn't it also have some hazards in it?
Yeah, but we didn't know that until they started tearing it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, maybe, do we know who, if we can find out who owns it, maybe we could at least get them to go out and secure it.
Jesse knows, she knows Jesse somebody, yeah. A girl named Jessie from, I think she lives down Georgetown, Island somewhere.
Well, maybe what we should do is send a letter to the owner and ask him to secure the building. If it was locked up, you know, a house sitting there locked up, unless somebody breaks into it.
So is he saying it was not locked up, not secured?
Yeah, he said it's not secured.
Yeah.
You can walk right into it, so maybe if they just went up, locked the place up.
Yeah, this is.
Do we have any liability if we declared abandoned or
I don't think
something?
we do.
No, I don't think so either. This is a very slippery slope, you know, the
know.
Murphy Corner Road had some trees on it and very, you
Yeah.
know, just a.
Some of the roads.
Well, like the one
Yeah,
down
and
here.
that was easy.
Yeah.
These other, and I know this is difficult, and I know it Dale's, you know, there's a lot of them in town, so who determines what is
I know.
bad or good, and,
I mean, I'm thinking of my house.
Well, the one
that's been brought up.
that cleaned up down here, that was collapsing.
No, right.
You know, if the roof's collapsing on the building, some kid gets in there and the thing falls down on him, that's one thing, but if it's just sitting there empty,
Hey, David, roof's caving in on this place.
is it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the mobile home's intact, right?
I don't know that, I've never been into it.
No, but to drive by, it's all.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Jason's right, it's kind of a slippery slope,
Yeah.
like how.
The roof's
involved
caved in, the
is
windows blown out, I mean,
We had the Four Coast property that we take on Meadow Road, right? And that obviously had, that's, you know, pretty rough shape, right?
Yeah.
Some trees down through vehicles and this, that, and the other, but the taxes were paid up until a few years ago, and so it's a really, yeah. I mean, has there been a lot of complaints? Is there one complaint? Is it a butter complaint?
there were two people, two different people.
I think the fear.
I've gotta get that lady's name and address on the Meadow Road one.
Yeah, I think the difficult part is if the board or Mike or any of us reach out to somebody and say, what do we, David's got a good point. You could say it appears it's not secure or whatever, and that may be a starting point, but it's very difficult to call somebody up and say, what are you gonna do with it?
You know, in the past, we've worried about the kids, you know, school's gonna be getting out there for long, kids gonna be out playing.
But I'll give that information to you.
What do you think?
Well, let's reach out to the owner and see if they
Why don't we
can secure
write,
it.
he said he'd proceed any way we want. Why don't we have Mike write her a letter and tell her that?
Talk about the secure part, yeah.
Talk,
Yeah.
the property, it needs to be secured, and if there is a building there that is collapsing, that needs to be taken down.
Right.
And see what happens.
It kinda puts me in a bad place, cause I know the family, but I don't know how to get a hold of them.
Okay. All right.
Or do you think we should not write a letter?
Well, I just don't know, you know, we got an address, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm a talking person.
Yeah.
I'd make a trip to Georgetown, that's all.
Just tell him, send the owner a
I don't
letter.
know her last
And
name.
a record, a letter, ask him to secure it, and if there is a building that isn't.
She works at the Works Department at the same
Take it
time.
down, we'll fix it.
Little short, dark-haired girl.
I think that's more.
EMS director, Danny.
We've had 13 calls so far in March. 13 patients seen, 7 transported. I'm not gonna jinx it by saying any more than that. I ordered the 8 new tires for the rescues. They will be delivered Friday. So it turns out we already had an account, the town had an account with them, so it made it a lot easier than me having to drive there. So they will be delivered Friday, and they were $127.85 each for the 8 tires.
And that's main commercial tire?
Yes, main commercial tire.
Good.
So, got a good price on those. I'll put 6 of them on Rescue 1 because that gets the most use, the new ones, and then the other 2 will go on Rescue 2 with some of the older tires that are still good. Also, I finally located an Opticon for Rescue 1 to add to the lights, to change the light switch that doesn't cost several $1,000s. We got one for install that's estimated at $640. So that's a much better price, and it will switch the lights and we won't have to use that handheld thing. And so I haven't committed to that yet. I just got, I've been searching for that. And that's well within our vehicle budget for the year. So it's not any special thing. I also wanted to introduce those of you who haven't met. This is Zach Miller. He's my deputy, and I just wanted to show him what we do, the excitement we have at select board meetings, and giving reports. So
Part of the new person's
try to
job is to
remain
come to
calm.
these meetings.
Yeah, I know this is intense. So, the new AED was installed downstairs. It's on the wall. I'm sure you all know that. As soon as the select board and town staff or whatever basically pick a time that works for everyone, and like your staff or other people who are in the town hall a lot, and we'll do a CPR course for the AED course.
How long does it take?
Hour or 2.
I love that idea.
So do we do it before a meeting, or do we do it, what do we do?
Well, I'm wondering if we could do it maybe on a Friday when we're closed.
Yeah, when it's
That
close,
way we don't have to.
close to the public? Yeah.
I can just let me know a day and I'll arrange it.
So don't touch it until we're training, right? Is that the idea?
If you've had training in it,
We could experiment.
Dale's slow with it.
just don't put it on the ears.
I was thinking of the, okay.
Yeah, so we will, we'll give you training and get you up to speed on that. And thank you for finally
No.
down. I think it's important to have.
Thanks for getting it.
Consider.
And it's also already in the pulse point system, which is the electronic system which dispatch can contact. So if somebody's driving around, has a heart attack and says, where's an AED, they can actually tell them where it is.
Okay.
Obviously, it's only during open hours, but
Yeah.
that way people can find it who might need it.
So-
What about Friday afternoon?
Yeah, so,
The 4th.
so tentatively, April 4th, or the afternoon not work for you, or would you rather do?
No, April 4th is fine.
Well, we ought to get, it's out, so we ought to get trained, right?
Do it, yeah.
In case,
April
What time?
4th is.
it's hard to use on yourself though, right?
I don't know.
I have nothing planned that day so far, so.
What time do you want to do it?
Well, they let you afternoon, whatever you want. Well, later in the day, yeah, what time?
2, 3, 4?
I don't want to go that late.
Kim has to travel, so, she has to travel farther than we do,
Not too
so.
early for me, so after.
I would say 2.
All right.
2 o'clock?
Would work for me.
And just, we can get the town hall staff and anybody, even like Mike or anybody who's in here a lot.
So maybe Candace would drive over and then we're not.
Yeah, let her know.
Yeah.
April
Hey,
4th.
we are taking, application for anybody who wants to be the, Zappy.
Dale
volunteered.
Yeah, Dale volunteered.
So I do have.
That's what you
training
do, guys.
on order for that. Other thing is, our Lucas's devices and monitors had their annual inspection last week, and it was confirmed he was able to do the inspection and service the monitor on Rescue 2. He said he probably won't be able to next year. It's showing that it's like 16 years old. It's an old monitor. It was bought used, and so it's up to speed. It's working. Everything. He replaced a part on it. He paid for, but it's So I'm really gonna have to start looking for a replacement for that. We use that on every call. It's required by Maine EMS for us to have. It's a very important tool.
The compressor?
Yeah, it's the monitor,
Oh, okay.
not the Lucas. The Lucas
okay.
devices are in great shape, and with our service plan, they give us free batteries every year, and
Okay.
it's like,
Oh, all right.
well, not free, we pay for it, but it's cheaper than actually buying them outright. So, so a new monitor, I'm just started looking at prices, because he said this, is probably $25,000. Could be more. He said possibility to trade in our old one, which would help cut that down. So I'm gonna have to start looking at that. Maine EMS has a new round of grants coming out. Our maximum would be 15,000, but if I could get that and apply it towards that, that would help us.
10 in trade, 15 for the purchase?
That would be nice. I don't know how much in trade, but this is something we're gonna need probably within the next year to get that. It's working for now. I don't wanna, panic and say we don't have a working unit, but the tech, he was very honest, and he's like, don't buy the biggest, there's a new monitor out there, it's beautiful, and it's gonna cost $50,000, $60,000 or more. We don't need something that big. We want something that matches ours, that does the job that our town needs. So, but I'm estimating, I'm still waiting for quotes back from Stryker on a new unit. I would rather not get refurbished. Part of the problem with that one, it's bought refurbished, and you don't have as long of a life to use it, you're replacing it. The one in Rescue 2, Rescue 1 is now 9 years old, it was bought refurbished, I believe. So it's, they're aging. So that's something we're gonna have to look at, and I will try my best to get that grant or any money to help with it, but it's something we're gonna have to look at. And that is it, except for EMS week is May 18th through 24th, and been talking to some of the officers about what we can do in events, so I'll let you know if we come up with anything.
This month, 18?
In May.
May 18th through 20th, so it's a couple months away, but.
Thank you. Sean?
7 calls so far for the month of March, so not too bad, thankfully. So the Stephen and Tabitha King Foundation grant, that's all complete. I just sent a letter off today to them, thanking them for that generous donation to the town, with the compressor and everything. So we hosted the last county chiefs meeting last week. At that meeting, Sheriff Mary brought up a announcement from the fire marshal's office that I had already heard about. Fire marshal's office is going to be co-sponsoring a grant that will be covering wellness testing for public safety and first responders. Such testing will be, cardiac related, cancer screening, all kinds of different in-depth testing, especially areas of health that really affect public safety folks in particular, not just normal citizens, where we're at a higher risk for that, different types of things to develop. It's a grant. The biggest thing that the state is pushing toward us is if you can do a regional grant application, you're better off. You're going to be more likely to get some funds. So Sheriff Mary and Bath Chief of Police got together, and they've agreed, and they asked the fire chiefs at the meeting if we wanted in. We all do. So they're gonna sponsor it, and they're gonna kind of head it up for us for the whole county. So we're chatting with Danny about it. We're very interested in it. It's kind of a pilot program, so we'll see what we can get from it.
It started as a Maine EMS wellness grant,
right,
as part of that whole sustainability thing,
yep,
and they've spread it out to add other first responders.
Yep. So
that's great.
Yeah, so that's a really big plus for us for the county and for all of our responders. So.
And I didn't bring this up, but would not, like that information, like if I were to get this wellness check, that stays with me. It doesn't get shared with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
They're doing it partially for studies, so they will use it to, see the effects of things, but it's personal medical information.
Okay.
Yeah.
The grant pays for it, so as you said, lung checks, heart checks, scans, fitness, wellness tests of running on the treadmill, cardiology.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
It should be a pretty cool thing. So we're also going to be hosting a command level fire training, May 8th. I've already put it up to all county fire chiefs and even our neighboring counties, if they have anybody. I've got an instructor coming in from southern Maine, and it's affiliated with the agency that's out of Massachusetts that does all kinds of different fire training. This is specific to fire officers and command level experience. So it's going to be a pretty good class that we got coming in May. Let's see, I spoke with Jason about this earlier. A Firehouse Subs grant opens up April 2nd, I believe it is. I've got it marked down. I'm going to try to get everything together for us to put in for a grant for it's called a decon, SCBA decon machine. So we have the decon washer downstairs, which decontaminates all the fire gear that folks wear when they go into a building. We have no way of deconning their air packs, their boots, their gloves, their hoods, their helmets, none of that stuff. That's all just old-fashioned, rinse it with a hose and do the best you can. There's a company out now that developed one, a special unit that does just that. Brunswick Fire bought one, and they've actually allowed area agencies to use it and kind of try it out, if you will. We're signed up to do that soon and run our equipment through it, but in light of that, I'm going to try to get this grant for that.
Question, I was actually thinking of applying for the firehouse grant for PPE extrication gear for the EMS. I'm not sure if there's, conflict, or if we wait till next time. Like, a lot of these grants I can't apply for if the town's gotten it through fire, so it limits what we can do. I just don't know, can we prioritize one thing or another, what might be needed, because we have no extrication gear. And so I don't know if that's something that can be talked about, or a lead of, how do we, in future say, give more heads up about these things so that it doesn't cut someone else off. Because we're all fighting for the same grants.
So it's due in April 2nd?
So there's 4 rounds for the grant. One already closed in January. They're very competitive. I was actually planning on it in January and had started the application, and within 48 hours it was closed. They'll cut you as soon as they hit they hit their mark. It's closed.
Ralph was able to get something recently.
Yeah.
There's 4 per year?
4 periods per year.
Quarterly they do it.
Quarterly. So they cap it at 600, I think. So like I said,
a number of. You basically have to log in early in the morning and put in your application. They cap it at a certain number of applications, and very few of those get it. So,
get your antler list too.
But I just there are, we need grant money as well, and so I just it's a great tool to be using it for. So it's just we are desperately in need for OSHA regulations and other things of keep extrication gear for EMS for the people who are on fire. So just avenues. And if you hear other grants like the safety grant are coming up, please let me know, because then I can focus on those instead and try and get that.
Okay.
And I have the info that the board requested for 2024 budget call statistics, so I can give you guys that at the end of this if you want in the next budget meeting. So that is all I have.
What's that? You got anything?
Yes, I do. Okay. Sean, I asked you a while back for a breakdown of the calls last year.
Yep, that's what I have.
That's what he has.
You do it.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Any word on anything selling?
So I had one department in Pennsylvania very interested in the fill station. We've been chatting back and forth for probably a week now, week and a half.
Yep.
They're a association-run department, if you will. They're not a municipal department. Pennsylvania's full of them. So they have an association meeting tomorrow night to approve the funds, if you will. They made an offer of I think it was $2,500 for the filling station, which is a little less than I posted it for. But I mean, if they're coming from Pennsylvania and they want it, as far as I'm concerned, come get it. One less thing we have to store, one less thing we have to deal with. If you guys are all set with that, anything we can get, the better, I think, so.
I've always been a believer that quick nickels better than slow down.
Yeah, well, and so,
Yeah.
so real quick follow-up, there were some hundreds left on the grant that you got that
Yep,
was going towards the electrical, right?
yeah, what I was left.
Yeah, and then obviously some of this could help.
Yeah, yeah, that was the goal, so.
Yeah, and so how were the repairs? The big pump repair?
Oh, engine 3 is, they're wrapping that up today. Pump testing on that's gonna be tomorrow and Friday. Probably tomorrow, not Friday. Friday's gonna be nasty. And if all goes well, if it passes its pump test, then we should see it for the weekend or early next week.
Any new updates on cost?
They had to order one other bearing and another valve. I told them what, we agreed to as far as the price to stay within that. They said they could do that best they would, so.
So it'll fall under what we authorized?
As far as I'm aware. So, as soon as I know, I'll update us on that, but as soon as it's done, they'll obviously get me that back, so. But yeah, that's where I was at, so that's really good news, the brush season is starting, so. We've already got all of our brush equipment in service, so. Yeah, should be good to go now.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. All right, anything under old business? All right, Jonathan. Want to talk about trash?
Been pretty quiet these last couple of months.
Yeah.
Solid waste and recycling only meets when we have need to, and for the last year, we've not met. So just for your information, Kim asked me last week for an annual report, and my first response was, there's not a whole lot to report. And then I said, well, I need to do the research to get together what the tonnage was for waste and what the tonnage is for recycling and the average fee. So I've started that process, and hopefully I can make it by Monday. I'll do my best.
We took just for your information, Kim and I met this afternoon, and we take kind of an educated guess on that.
Yeah.
With what we take the average of the monthlies, we take the average cost. I know
We talked about it.
Yeah, and you
So
threw
what would you decide?
Well, we haven't decided, well, no, we want your input, but you had suggested 25 on the recycling.
Yeah.
Last year we were at 56. The costs are lower this year, but it's wild, right? It's
25 tons?
No, this is the cost per
25
ton.
per ton.
Per ton for recycling. So last year we budgeted 56 and we're doing fine.
So.
But for 4 or 5 years, we were at 55, 53.
And now it's 25.
So
Just in case anybody's interested, we bounced, 10 years ago when I started this work for the town, we bounced from sending most everything to China and getting a good price to being shut out completely, to moving to Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
And at this point, most of the recycling is done here in the United States.
Yeah.
The cost isn't as advantageous for us, but it's still good for the environment. I've asked Maine, can they give us any sense of what's happening?
Yeah.
And again, I just started that process today, so.
We looked at the quarters, right? So it seemed like one quarter was around 11, one quarter was around
17.
17, then it went to 35.
22, and then 35.
The winter seems to be higher, it's like 35. And so you would, and whatever you suggest, one was 25, then we're like, well, do we go to 35? Like, what do we pick for a number that's safe?
Let me do this research and I'll get back to
Yeah.
Kim and you guys can continue.
The solid waste is pretty easy,
Yeah.
that cost, but.
Are the tonnages pretty consistent?
Yeah, I mean, the town grew though, obviously this year some, and that's what we try to factor in.
So that grows in both recycling and in solid waste?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's more in the summertime, we literally look at every month and quarter, and more in the summer, the town grew some this year, there's obviously more houses. We've done really well with whatever your input and our deciphering to now go over.
Yeah.
And it looks like right now, Kim estimates that at the end of this year, we may have a surplus of around $12,000 if we guess for the next few months.
Okay.
So
Recycling was down.
no, right, and so we're always trying to find that.
And that was basically on the recycling.
Yeah, recycling is down. I mean, the cost is down,
Yeah.
which is good. The cost is down, so it's good. But
Did you guys, speaking of which, I got an annual report from this apparel people?
No? I didn't get anything.
I'll bring it over, because I don't know why I got it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
But sort of like with some of their figures, since we're talking
Yeah.
about recycling. I mean, we don't, it doesn't cost us anything, but it does seem like it's a good
Does it say in
service.
there what kids, or like, do they have stuff that they just have to throw away? They a couch and a chair that was put outside.
They're talking, I think it's called apparel.
Right.
Oh.
So, but I remember when she came, it was pretty broad as to like the quality of stuff, that they could always use stuff for rags. Furniture, I don't think that's.
It gets used quite frequently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that gets filled. There's some items that we've had to
Yeah, we
discard.
had to have them come more frequently, because when we had them here, instead of across the street, I think it was over a holiday, and we had people just bagging stuff around the bin, and it was.
Okay. What happened to the couch in the,
Jason.
We properly disposed of that.
our public works
Yeah.
department?
I watched security, I tried to figure out who was.
Probably the best way to phrase
Not me.
it.
Look at my couch, it's like,
Under the direction of the town administrator, we properly disposed of it. Didn't end up on any
Did you
roads.
say that it was properly?
No, it was, but it can't be put in that container.
No.
It's like-
No, and it's not designed, they don't take that stuff.
No, you go drive by and there's a couch sitting there, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
Okay.
And Kim looked at the camera as much as she could.
I wonder if it would pay us to post a sign similar to what we have on the end of the building that says, don't leave anything.
It's interesting, because you're on camera and there's a street light, you can't quite make out every plate number, but it's like, why would you do, why do you?
The sign on the end of the building didn't do us any good.
I know. But
David, you're remembering back when you were sorting it out, when it was beyond it.
Oh, it used to be, when we had those bins out there, I hated it. I was down here every Sunday morning with a shovel
Yeah, I
and a
remember.
pitchfork, and it was gross. People would walk up there and the bin would be full. And rather than just take the stuff home and bring it back later, they just dump it on the ramp. And, and it was gross.
One other thing I want to share with Select Board and everybody else who's here, I get lots of comments from neighboring towns and folks asking just how do we do it? And most towns find the whole recycling solid waste issue a problem. It's a headache, it's a nuisance, and I think I'd like my report to indicate to the townsfolk that we do it really well as a town. I mean, the way our citizens use the system that we've created has reduced the headaches to almost nothing. So
And I think part
we
of
should
it.
be very proud of that. It's financially maybe helpful and ecologically maybe helpful, but just in terms of wear and tear on people's time and energy, it's a good system.
I think we've done very well with the contractor.
That's what I was gonna say.
I do too.
Big Riverside.
Those guys are great.
That's right, there's no question.
They do a good job, they're neat and clean, and they,
My only
My
comment is that
my last question is just about recruitment for the committee. We currently have 3 people on the committee. We've had a couple deaths and folks moving away. How important is it to keep that constituency, since we're not meeting? I don't know. We have, I think, a number of 6, and we're short of that. We have been short for months. I've got a couple people in mind, but it's hard to recruit for a committee that's not actively meeting on a regular basis, solving problems. We don't have any problems right now.
I have a question, who does
we can always.
who does the calendar? Who does the recycling calendar? Is that just something that Terry?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Kim does now, because we cut out the committee because we found out Riverside and Kim could solve it in about
Kim needs to be on the
3
committee.
minutes. It took my committee months.
I have Fridays free now.
Yeah, Kim needs to be on the committee.
And the annual report's pretty easy too. Kim and I have got this down to the system.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
if people could just kind of get on board a little bit more, that the only holidays that Riverside does not acknowledge, or that they don't pick up, are Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, and
Well,
that's
he
it. Every
says-
other holiday.
Do a little reading.
Yeah,
Pay
do a little
attention,
reading.
pay attention.
Yeah, I posted on our
Stop.
website of the Riverside recycling,
Yeah,
and
right.
people still kind of grumble about it.
People seem nicer on social media.
Better them grumbling about that than us, Kim.
Right.
Well, Jonathan, I for one would think that it would be great to keep the committee going.
Yeah,
Even
I
if-
think that's true.
And maybe there's a need to meet once a year or twice a year, just whether it's about the status of where we're at, the costs. I mean, we have a great relationship with Riverside and Eco Maine, and I do think we have a really unique situation, and we were talking about it earlier.
It would be nice if the committee was active in it, in as much as like having the recycling thing that they had here one year. You know,
Oh,
you could
yeah.
do that every summer, you know, have a little thing, invite people in to see how, you know, what that actually does, and it does save the town money.
We get a lot of.
That's been
phone calls on that.
successful on Woolwich Days too, we just set up a table and.
Yeah, and we can, I imagine Eco Maine is pretty amenable to like getting those blue, you know, they could give us a handful of the blue containers to hand out, like they
I
did.
don't know if they hand those, I mean, I
I
think.
mean, they did when we first started.
They did.
Yeah.
I could check though.
Yeah,
After what, it's been almost 10 years we've worked with them.
yeah. Oh my God.
It's tough to fill committees, and I don't think we're the only town in that, I think if you check with any town, that everybody's having trouble, you know, filling the committees and keeping them active, so. It'd be
If
nice
you
to
have-
see you guys keep going though.
And if you have people in mind, tell them to fill out an application.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Okay,
Eric.
thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Anything under new business other?
Yep.
I would entertain.
Well, wait a minute, did you?
We got one.
You don't you want to?
Yeah.
Don't you want to bring up the?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We have a, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm probably not
We
supposed to.
have,
No, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we have the Public Safety Advisory Committee that needs to have some appointments done.
okay. We have Al Fowler,
Yeah, those were downstairs. We got
William Potter, and Wendy Williams. Would like to be on the Public Safety Advisory Committee.
Are these reappointments or these?
Yes,
new
reappointments.
Reappointments, and so they want to be
We're actually,
reappointed.
we're gonna have to meet, that committee's gonna have to meet soon to go over that emergency plan thing, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh, maybe invite them to the AED.
I would move to appoint the three.
Second.
Second.
Okay, those in favor? Okay.
What's the other thing?
The other thing I want to bring up before we leave tonight is we have a press release here, and I will read a good portion of it. I don't know how many people know, but Jack Shore and Sons is no longer going to plow our roads. They've decided after 38 years of plowing the town roads that they've had enough and they're getting done. So we're gonna be at least bidding those 3 contracts this year. And the town, the board has spoken with Jack, and we approached him, and we would like to buy his salt and sand building. And the reason we wanna buy it is that we're about the only town in southern Maine that does not have its own salt and sand building. And we really have no place to store anything, like culverts or anything like that. So we're talking about buying the building in approximately 2 acres of land. And we negotiated a price with Jack of $400,000, and he's gonna let us pay for that over 5 years with no interest. 5 equal payments with no interest. Without our own salt and sand building, what we're afraid of is the only people that can bid our plowing contracts will be somebody that has a building big enough to store up to 1,500, 2,000 yards of sand every year. Building like that would cost about $450,000 to build, so nobody's gonna put that kind of money out up front in hopes to get a bid. Right? I mean, that's pretty tough to ask somebody to do. So without our own storage facility where we can buy the salt and sand and then let the contractors, we will also get, by doing that, we'll get a lower per mile price because we will be able to use our municipal discount to buy the salt and sand and meter it out to the contractors. Without this, we're afraid that all we're gonna get is Hager and Crooker bidding on the contracts, you know, because they're the only people around here that are big enough to be able to do it without, you know, without building a building. if we have our own building and our own facility, then a smaller contractor could bid the job. Usually a smaller contractor means a lower price. So, we're gonna be having a, public hearing on this before the town meeting, and we're gonna have a warrant article on the town warrant to, get the town's permission to do this. I personally hope it flies. I think in the long run, we see a possibility of saving up to $35,000 a year on the cost of plowing our roads, which would help offset the cost of the building. Building's in good shape. It's built to DEP standards. It's wooden building that's all in good shape, and it has it's tarred inside. You have to have either tar or cement so the salt doesn't leach out into the environment. The entrance to it, as you all know, is tarred. We're gonna get the little building that Jack now donates sand in, and the town will continue to put sand out there for people to come and use. We will probably put a camera system on it, and you know, to keep people honest. You know, I think it'll be a lot more reliable snow removal, or as reliable snow removal, and it'll be cost effective to do it. So that's what we're gonna hope for. Anybody has any questions?
Thank you for the years of service of keeping our roads safe for the winter time.
So for clarification, this is the end of the current contract period. And so, my father's plowed snow a lot longer than I have, but I've done it for 38 years, and I think I've done the middle road for 20 years. And, you know, we're not gonna probably go to the Bahamas all winter, but it's just, it's been a long.
Yeah.
I started plowing when I was 14 years old in the town of Woolwich. I plowed 62 years. And it's getting to be a point where we're gonna have to stop. We're very pleased that we're willing to help this transition. It's to be very beneficial for the town. At least the town doesn't have control over it. So we'll see where it goes.
Our shoes to fill.
Yeah. You know, it's a tough racket. You're tied to that contract. You know, if it snows, you've got to be here to plow. You know, so
Jack, will you still scout around when the plowing's happening to check on them?
I'm still road commissioner.
The town of Woolwich is unique. There's a couple of quick things here. The town of Woolwich has 60 miles of road in the wintertime that we maintain, you know, and Shaw does 42 of them. And we have for obviously many years. The only other town that's similar to Woolwich neighboring is Phippsburg. Phippsburg has multiple contracts in their town. Most other towns have everybody that we know of except for Georgetown and Rouseck have a sand salt storage building. They put their town out to bid as one contract. Woolwich is larger than Wiscasset, larger than many of the neighboring towns in the wintertime. And so it is, you know, it is unique. It's important that we, you know, facilitate this. You know, it's going to be a change. Not that somebody else can't do it, but it's going to be a change to. And if you look back in history, there have been, you know, 30, 40 years ago, there have been lots of, Dale was here, there's been a lot, David, there's been a lot of stories, you know, and so it's you got to find a way to make this work out for the town.
It's gonna have to happen sometime. You know, I'm getting older, apparently. And, you know, it is quite a labor of love. It really is. You gotta go all night, and no matter what happens, if the phone rings, you gotta go. It's almost like the fire. If there's an accident on Route 1, and the state police wants us, or the fire department, we have to go. And which is fine, but it, you know, after a while, it's.
Yeah.
Our hope is with our own salt and sand building, we can keep the contractors in town. We'd like to, there are other contractors that have expressed an interest in taking over portions of the, we may end up with, instead of with 3 contractors, we may end up with 5 or 6. But as long as each one does his job, it doesn't matter, you know. And, you know, but, there's really no place in Woolwich that you could get DEP permit to build that building today. So, you know, it would be tough to do, because the town is primarily rural residential. Of course, as a municipality, we can build whatever we want, wherever we want, pretty much. I mean, within reason, there are a few restrictions, but the town can pretty much do whatever we want. But the only property the town owns is what you see here, the old townhouse and the parking lot across the street. That's all we own. So this would put us in a much better position.
Well, I know you'll want to keep plowing the road that Jenny and Jonathan and I live on, so we'll let you do that.
Almost, and your driveway.
And my driveway.
Could you just move some of those cars?
I know, make it worthwhile.
This isn't just having the three of us here tonight. We're gonna pitch it.
I just hire Cliff to do ours. He already does it anyways.
Well, speaking on that side, I think the town is looking to work with, there's two other contractors, right, as you know, that does your area, and obviously if we can work with, well, that's, I think.
Yeah, our guy is amazing.
And David Landcrafters, yeah, Jeff does down there, Quonset does, and so I think, speaking on that part, you know, I think it's our intent to work with them and do what we can.
Really good, he's really good.
If you look at other towns, it's turned into a real difficult thing in many towns. They go to bid, there's one or two bidders, there's no bidders.
I think, not to interrupt Jason, but my own opinion is, I think you're gonna have to kind of mold this in to attract other people. They are not beating the door down to do this work anymore. It's very expensive. I mean, for example, one cutting edge on a blade, just the cutting edge, $2,500. So, you know, you've got to be in the game to want to do this. So, I think you're going to have to do something to help attract them. You have to pass them a flower at the door or something, you know.
I already
I think
did.
this is a good start.
Yeah, well, let's see what's
Warm brownies out of the oven.
direction.
Yeah, just the smell, you know.
That's how I keep the trash guys come in and take whatever I put in, $20 for lunch.
Those guys are amazing. I mean, Riverside, you know, everybody stumbles, but they are really amazing.
They're clean too. If there's trash out, they'll pick it up off the ground.
I have seen them literally pick it up off the ground.
Yeah.
And people just dump.
Yep.
And they'll literally stop and pick it up and
They put their bags out like the night before, the crows get into it. And I see them out there scooping it up and putting it in the trunk.
Real quickly, that's a good example. By the town contracting directly with Eco Maine for disposal, then all we needed was which Riverside didn't have disposal. They didn't, you know, Pine Tree, when we had them, they own landfills, they have leases, they have all these, because all the waste, all these big deals. But we were like, okay, this is what all there is. And with these folks, by doing what we did, I think we have a really, really great, I mean, the solid waste committee, whatever the negotiations, it's a really great.
And I try to give them a call a couple times a year to say this sort of stuff. I give them that feedback.
Yeah.
They know we appreciate it.
Yeah, and what Jason just said kind of leads into the plow contract.
Oh, it does.
Because it, you know, I mean, Riverside does not have any place to dispose of the stuff. You know, but Eco Maine does, you know, so they provide the transportation, but it all goes to Eco Maine. And, you know, same thing with the plow contract, you know, if a smaller contractor, a guy that's got a dump truck and a 1-ton truck, and he wants to take a 10-mile section of the contract or something, or a 12-mile, whatever they are, and, you know, he can do that easily, but not if he's got to lay out $100,000, $200,000 to build a building, you know, first. So anyways, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.